Howdy everyone, Nimby here. Gonna be tying a bicolored walker today. This is a wine-colored nymph, a nymph version. And this turns into in my opinion, a really cool double-colored fly that basically lives between New York State and Washington State and comes up into Canada. We're kind of at the northern end of its area that you can find it. This version is the nymph version. We'll eventually be tying the wet fly and the dry fly version of it. This one's just the nymph. It's a wine-colored nymph with some yellow segmentation and a red butt tail. And we're going to start off with some black A-dot uni thread, like most of these older vintage patterns. This one originates from the Seattle area, but again they tied them right across the northern part of the country. We're going to bring this back to our basically right at the barb there. We just want a little bit of the curve on the hook. We're tying this in. It's a nymph. What's the size? Size 10. Kind of cross between a nymph hook and a scud. I'd say more closer to a scud or a nymph hook. It's got a little bit lighter bend than most of my scud hooks. I think this one's a Jan's Netcraft, so basically I think most of theirs are Mustang. For the older version of the pattern, which is the one we're going to be tying, they're pretty specific on some of the ingredients. For my personal versions, I change up a few things here, and we'll go over that as we go. Hey show flies, how's it going, mate? Thanks for dropping in. So our tail material is going to be between the shoulder and the breast on a Chinese pheasant. You get these nice brilliant red feathers. You can get a little bit of this closer to the shoulders and where it connects to the rump as well too. But specifically on the original pattern, it calls for the ones between the shoulders and the breast. The major difference between these and the ones you get off the rump is the fibers are a fair bit less robust and thinner. They're not quite as much as the... Do I have a rump feather? Yeah, here. So this one's not the exact same location, but it'd be right beside these on a rump. You'd have these, and you can see the feather fronds are quite a bit more robust and definitely stiffer. So they want these ones that screw next to them between the shoulder and the breast. And they're a lot softer. So that'll give you the movement for the nymph, because the nymph will breathe out of its rear end. We're just going to strip that off. these are quite a bit lighter, so. We're going to be going, well, I'd say probably got about a dozen fibers or so there. Probably about half the width of the gap if it's pushed together. Just trying to get them all even. Tear them off. And we're just going to compact those. I want to have a, not necessarily a bushy tail on it, but I want to have a round kind of protrusion like this. Because you're going to have the breathers on the back of the nymph. That's really what this is representing. It's not representing an actual tail. And we're going to go with half of the working body length. So right there. Yeah, that's about half. That twisted on me a bit, so I'm just going to recenter it. There we go. And we're going to tie that in with 3 or 4 wraps just to the back before our thread. Damn. That's perfect. That's what I'm looking for. So we just want like a little red puff out the back. Some of the more modern patterns will have you using, you know, just like a little shot of Charlotte, like red yarn or Antron or anything to give you a little red shuck out the back. When this turns into an emerger and actually comes out and becomes a fly, they have a brilliant red butt section. So that's what this is representing. But in this stage it's not anywhere near as red. This would be more of a traditional pattern again. Gonna go about two-thirds of the way up here, and we're going to tie in our body. I've used this in a number of other classic patterns. It's just a yellow Gutenberg from West Germany thread. And if you don't have that, you're welcome to just use some gold wire. But it calls for this, what they call a sunflower yellow in the original tying instructions. Corn yellow or sunflower yellow is the color it's shooting for. And to me that's very sunflower corn color. So we're going with that. And again, this is just for the rib. Just to show segmentations and pop the body color. I want to stop the tie-in about 2 thread lengths from the tail so we don't interrupt the tail too much. This time we're going to bring our thread up a little bit more, right to the start of our tie-in point. We're going to be using this lovely wine color, slightly fuzzy wool yarn. And that is what the traditional recipe calls for. A brownish or purple wine colored, slightly fuzzy yarn. Get us a length of that. We don't want it fairly, we don't want it super thick. Length of your hook shank is perfectly fine. If you have multiple strands in your yarn, just thin it out, separate it. Hey, Trout John. Robert, good to see you, mate. Good to have you in. Hopefully keep up on the work orders. We're doing a bicolor, which is the type of fly. Nymph. And they're fairly large nymphs as far as nymphs go. Traditionally, these would be tied on an 8 to 10, or we're working on 10. And they have a, for a nymph, they have a pretty large head section, so we're going to leave a good chunk up top there. I'm liking this, that wine colored yarn though. I think that's going to work out just great. Just looking for my half edge tool, there we go. Take care, mate. I'm glad you could stop in. Have a good day and be safe working out there, eh? Hey, so we did, there we go. So we did a couple half inches to tie that off. We're going to do the body wrap now. Just going to bring this over manually here, and then we'll... Come on, behave yourself. There we are. Oh yeah, that wine color is just perfect, bang on for this fly. They're a neat insect because they have really very specific colorations through their life cycle. We're just at the very northern point of their range. I might see them kind of June, July. Okay, we'll stop right there. I'm going to back wrap. I'm going to skip a wrap there, and we're just going to go to the third part, and then I'll go back over the spots I skipped here to fill it in. And we're just going to make a very slight taper on the head there by doing that. Just a little bit, because we're going to be putting in the equivalent of like a wing shuck on it. Yeah, when these hatch and pop off in the areas that they do, they'll be everywhere. That'll be a key food source for the trout in that area. Yeah, I'm happy. That's, from all the descriptions I've read, that's pretty much perfect body color and type there. I'm happy with that. Okay, we're going to chase it now. We'll start on the underside. And we'll tie that off. And that yellow thread really helps it to pop nice. That looks great. And we're just going to get ourselves a little, we'll say bodkin width. Yeah, give or take. I'm sure you can see that there. Tie-in point for the, so it's nice and flat for the little shuck. It's not really truly a shuck, it's be where the wing buds are going to be coming out. For lack of a better term for it. I guess wing buds would actually be the correct term for it though. Traditionally what they call for is a wine colored dyed rooster hackle. Oh, oop. Just got some random feather in with it. I'll put that off to the side. But we're not actually using the rooster hackle itself. We're using the fluff from the base of the hackle, of all things. So, spend most of your fly tying tossing that away. In this case, we're actually going to get to use it. So for this, I'm going to be grabbing a larger, settle yourself down, there we go. And I'm going to grab a larger one from the back. It'll have a little more fluff on it. We should be able to get a good couple flies out of each one. There we are. So what we're after is this part right there. They have a very wispy, small wing case. And this will, taking it from a rooster hackle, it's going to have a lot more durable bands in the bottom there. Should tie in nice and stay for us. Now we don't want to go crazy with it, but I'm going to go with a gap length. This is just a nymph, we're not tying a dry fly, so we don't need a huge amount. Gap length is probably more than enough. I'm going gap length on this one mainly just because it's the first pull off that feather and it's going to be a little bit on the thinner side for that bottom section. Now I want to tie this in so it reaches about halfway on the fly, so roughly right about there. Just like that. Beauty, that's all we're going for. If you don't have any wine colored hackle laying around, because it is a bit of an odd ingredient for most flies nowadays, it's really common. And there's lots of patterns you can tie with it, but not as common nowadays. If you don't have one, just get yourself a felt pen and just color a little section of white, basic white like leg bar rooster hackle will do perfectly fine. Or really any other white feather you got kicking around. It doesn't have to be rooster, just the fibers will be a little more durable on a rooster than they will. Okay, I'm not going to bury those butt ends in yet because we'll be tying in our little legs here And for those, it calls for a brown. How did they word it here? Brownish wine color. So I have these beautiful, they're actually like a rooster pheasant color kind of mix. It's really close. We just want a browner version of what we've already tied in. And they have very subtle, because they're just coming out of their larval stage into the nymph stage. And we just want to have some very subtle legs coming out, which are going to be just a bit shorter than the wing case that we put on. Hey Brick, good to have you in, mate. And we're just going to be tying these in as a throat. So we want to bring it up. Well, we'll try and match the top wing, and that should tighten itself. Let's do 2 wraps. There we are. I'll just use some tweezers here and just tighten that up a hair. There, I like the look of that. Two more wraps to lock it in. We'll cut the waist off, and then we'll bury those 2 pieces in. Like I said, traditionally the fly has a pretty good size head, so that whole section there is going to be buried in with a good sized black head on it. They have quite large, like when they do come out, they have quite large, almost looks like beady eyes, to be honest. If I was going to tie this myself for like an emerger, I'd probably actually use some, probably like mono eyes. There's one little fiber here that's going to be driving me nuts. We're just going to find it a new home. There we go. There we go. So almost like a wet style head is what I'm going for. So we're going to add a little thickness and a little taper to it. Not going to go crazy, but we just want it to be prominent. Because they do have a drastic color change to their head. From that wine purple. Okay, that'll do. And we're going to start off with a layer of just regular head cement on here to soak into the thread. And then we're going to hit it up with some nail polish to give it a bit of a shine. We're just going to let that soak in for a minute here. And that's your Bicolor Walker. Give it a minute to settle in there, and then we'll put some polish on the head. And for the polish, I'm just going to be using good old Sally Hansen's hard as nails. If you get this on while the head cement's still a little tacky, two of them will kind of blend together. Give you a nice firm and shiny head. There we go. Alright, let's rotate that a bit so it can dry even. Hopefully everyone's having a great morning today. It's definitely fall coming in, all the colors are changing. Leaves aren't dropping yet, but they're definitely taking on the fall colors. That would be your traditional bicolor for late summer, early fall bicolor nymph hatch. I'm going to do up a few of these. I'm going to... Where did my cork go? There we go. Get this guy into the cork here. Beauty, that looks good. Alright, we'll just get tying. Try and make these ones a little bit on the quicker side for you guys. The last one I was just explaining each step a little slower. So if anyone wanted to tie along, we do have a number of community that like to tie along with me, which is awesome. And they have a nice slower pattern to tie along with. Again, we're going to tie that in right to the hook point, and we'll back up about 3 turns. Sorry, not hook point, barb. And on this one, I'm going to be grabbing just a slightly less for the tail because these are a lot more prominent barbs there. And again, we're going to go for about half the working area. It's right about there. Get some of the twist out of my thread. And I just want to make sure that it's nicely on top like it is. We'll get about 3 or 4 wraps back. Leave about 2 thread wraps to the end of our tie off, so we're just on the front of the barb like that. That'll stop it from sliding too far forward. Yeah, that's perfect. And again, this is just to represent the breathers on the back of the nymph. They don't actually have a tail, but they do have a very prominent kind of red shuck that starts to grow at this point. And let's tie the waste material in at the top there. And we're going to tie in our yellow. About 2 thread lengths back from the tail. See there? It's not interrupting the tail. I think I got enough here. Yeah, she's gonna be close. I grab a new piece. We'll use that one after. This nice wine colored wool. We'll tie that in right where we're going to be tying in our, come on, behave. Come on, capture. There we go. We're just going to be tying that in right where we're going to put in that wing shuck. Wing bud. I keep calling it a wing shuck. Technically, it's a bud. So the wings haven't even grown yet. And a couple half inches here. So we can put our bobbin in the bobbin cradle. Overwrap that nice wine colored wool. It's got just the right fuzzy body I'm looking for on this. Just a hair so you get all that movement and breather activity going on. Alright, there we go. Sorry, I had a cat hair in there, I had to get out. Never happens. First time. Okay, we're gonna stop right there. Gonna back wrap a little bit less than 1/3, spaced out, so when I'm back wrapping the other direction, or forward wrapping, I'm filling in those locations. And we're basically just creating a very slight thorax ramp there for the wing bud to get tied in on. Hopefully that spare piece I got is the right length, so now I got 2 of them that length. If that's the case, that's perfect, because I can just get 4 out of them. Okay, so this one's going to go underneath. Oh, before we do that, we'll do a 1/2 hitch here, and we'll put her up in the bobbin cradle. This one we're going to be going under and over. Beauty, that turned out well. And you want to create just a very slight, like 1 extra wrap bump at the thorax point there, because what will be a thorax. It'll help that wing bud to stand up. Again, we're just going to back it up a hair here, and we just want a bobbin width flat tie-in point right there. Again, we're just going for that fluff. I'm going to go on the same side, we'll go a little bit higher this time. I'll take a hair less and less, so last time we were a full gap width, this time we're going to go about 2/3. Again, this is just a whiff, it's just a whisper of an idea of the wing bud. Just to have some movement up top there. And that color. And roughly about halfway mark there, yeah. Yeah, that'll do. Hey Yoshi, how's it going, mate? It's going good today, man. Just doing up some bywater nymphs. It's an old traditional pattern, like most of mine. Alright, we're just gonna use this nice kind of translucent honey brown, wine colored, brown wine, I guess. Rooster feather for the legs. We're just gonna tie in a little beard. And we're gonna go about maybe half the gaff length. And this is just the nymph form, so it's not got crazy legs going on yet. Go about halfway to match up with our wing bud. Yeah, I like that. That's good. That'll do. There, free our tag in. Or sorry, free our waist and bury our tag in. Well, this is going to have that nice, good size black, almost like a wet fly style head to it. I don't want to interrupt the wing too much. Just build that shape up. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Throw a couple half hitches in there and get some varnish on it. Yeah, we'll start off with a little bit of head cement. Thanks, Yoshi, appreciate it. Yeah, it's an old pattern, but it's a very specific region that this gets fished in. Basically, the northern border from New York up, just kind of up where I'm in the interior. BC is kind of like the most north that these go. And even then, that's pushing it a little bit. But not that trout wouldn't eat them anywhere. But that's where the hatches are. It's a really neat fly with like a red belly butt on it when it does come out. Hey Valhalla, good to see you. Good to have you drop in, even if it's for a short time. I appreciate that. Just just got to let this head cement set a little bit before I put on the varnish. So we'll give it a minute. Cool, you got enough subs and everything to do the streaming now? That's awesome. Yeah, do it, man. If you got something you can stream, just share it with the world. Great way to get your watch time up and build an awesome community and friends like we got going here. Coastal areas, there's lots of spearfishing, even in the like tributary rivers and that, but it's illegal in Canada for the most part. So you know you have to pick your markets, but you're down south anyway, so that might work out for you. Oh, hi, okay, I've driven through there. Just drove through, can't say I saw a whole lot. Mostly farms in the area I went through. Are you talking about my Vise? I'm not really sure if I can get the whole Vise in there. It's a beast. I'll see if I can show it for you though. It's probably gonna... There you go, Val. Hopefully that... I know it was all blurry because I got my focal point set specifically where the fly is and I can't change it. But hopefully that gives you a little better idea what it looks like. It's beefy, to be honest, as far as these things go. Like, I could stand on this thing. It's not going anywhere because it's solid, you know, forged steel, welded and everything. As far as vices go, this is probably one of the beefiest vices you can pick up. Not that that matters at all, just happened to be the one that was on Facebook Marketplace that I got my hands on. Just trying to find where I put my cork with my flies in it. Where did you go, buddy? Oh, here we go. My bad, got way too many on the desk here. But yeah, this Vise retails for $1,000, like $9.99 American. Thankfully, I only paid $40 for it, so as much as I enjoy it and I do like it, it is a really good, super good quality tool. I would never pay $1,000 for it, even with the amount of tying I do. It'll probably last my lifetime without any issues. I don't doubt that because it's built so sturdy. But you know, 1,000 bones is a lot. So I got lucky though and got it for $40. Yeah, exactly. There's really nothing. I mean, I understand because it's a niche market why they charge what they charge for it, but it's basically just some skateboard bearings. Which is nice that it does actually have bearings. A lot of them are just a Teflon sleeve, which you know eventually wears out and gets wonky. This one actually has some a nice bearing block in it, and the rest of it's really just, you know, not tube steel but solid steel rod, mild steel. I'm assuming. Oh no, this would be. Is this magnetic? I think this is magnetic, so it's not gonna be stainless. So it's probably mild. Although there are some stainlesses that are magnetic. But yeah, mostly there's a few aluminum parts on it, but it's mostly, I'm assuming, mild steel because it is magnetic. And then the jaws here are going to be a special tempered. That's the part where it takes some effort to actually get that right, just like when you're, you know, tempering a blade, right? You want to have it so it'll flex like this, but not be too brittle. But it's got to be hard so it'll bite into the hook steel and hold it. So that part is really what makes a big difference between a good quality vise and a cheap, more entry-level vise, is you're going to wear your jaws out with the hooks somewhat quickly. I've worn a few vices out within like a couple thousand hooks. The nice thing is though, you can take it apart and flip them on the cheaper vices. Most of the time they're bi-directional. I know it's one piece. If I could take it out, it's like basically a long pencil has been cut down the middle. So this is flexing, and most of them work that way. So it's like a, you know, a tong, right? But there's a cam gear. Here, I'll see if I can actually get this. Sorry, my not set up for this at the moment, but since we're going over it, may as well go over it. See if I can get this in here without mucking my camera all up. But I got dozens of different types and styles, but in essence they all work the same. It's just holding the hook. Just give me a minute here. Sorry guys, let's see if I can do this without hitting my power button on the camera. There we go, getting closer. Alright. Now if I get it this way. There we go. I'll see if I can back it up here so we can get it in the shot. Okay, it's going to be a little out of focus, but we're getting there. Alright. So this part here can be adjusted and slid with this, which will bring it up and down so that when you put your hook in, I really wish I was back just another. I'm against the wall. I can't go back any farther with my tripod. we'll do that. There we go. That's close enough. Okay. So when it's rotating, you want to be able to adjust this pivot point. So the top of your hook, you just grab a hook here. So when you're putting a hook in, of course, as I say that now, it's not grabbing my hook. There we go. Alright, so when we're putting the hook in, we want to have this part of the hook, now notice, there we go. We want to have the top of the hook lining up with the back of this shaft. So where it's the rotating point is all in line. And that's another difference between a cheaper vise and a higher end vise, is that you can adjust that point. Otherwise, it'll do this. And I'm just going to exaggerate here so you guys can see the difference. Actually, let's flip it over and just ridiculously exaggerate it. Alright, now you can see that the hook is rotating and it's not, the shank itself is not staying in that parallel. I mean, you can still tie like that. There's nothing stopping you from doing that. And a lot of the more entry-level vices, that's exactly what you're going to get if you get a rotary function. There's going to be something along those lines. Yeah, the axis, you got it. So that's going to be a feature that you're only going to see in the more higher-end vices, which does, you know, if you're tying a lot, it's nice. It makes a difference that way, but definitely not like a game changer. You can learn. I did all my first couple decades of tying on a solid vise. I didn't move to a rotary until fairly recently, actually. So you don't need any of that. It's handy if you're tying a lot, but you definitely don't need it. And then if we can get this to go over a little bit more so you can see the... Come on now. Behave. Come on, just give me the shot I'm looking for. There we go. Okay. We're slowly working our way over. So now on this side here, you're going to have different cam mechanisms. On almost every vise is going to use some sort of cam mechanism. Some of them, it's a long handlebar that's always under pressure. Basically, one side of that fork spring is going to be always under pressure and putting pressure on the hook. And then the majority of them are going to be like this, where you have a cam. I'm going to undo this and not lose my hook, hopefully. There we go. You have a very simple cam right here. I wish I could get my camera down a bit, but I can't. But you can see there, obviously, it's camming, right? It's a little thicker on the top than the bottom. And there's a very slight, which is a nice feature, detent right here, which a lot of them don't have. But you could easily grind that in yourself. But it makes a nice, satisfying, you know, thunk, click, like it's it's on there. It's not going anywhere once it clicks in. I do like that about this vise, that it does have, you know, some solid purchase, and you're confident that it's not going to just pop out. I've had a few other vices where you're kind of like, I think I got it. But yeah, this one, it's like, it gives you a nice solid thunk. And like, you know, I could put my whole body weight, I'm not going to, but on this thing, and it's not going anywhere because it's solid tubular steel. A lot of them are hollow or, you know, non-tempered mild steel. Not that you're really going to bend your vise, but I have bent some cheaper ones. If you're really reefing on like saltwater salmon flies or that kind of thing. That's what this one's more really designed for, is more of the bigger saltwater stuff. It does fine with what I tie, but originally the jaws are more, they have to pick a range, right? And it's more designed on the bigger range than the smaller. They can do the smaller stuff fine, obviously. You see me do it all the time. But I'm only working on just the tip of this vise, where there's a couple detents, you can see them in there, where the hook shanks can actually fit into those slots. And if you're working on a bigger hook, I got any kicking around here? Yeah, here we go. So if you're working on a bigger hook, which to me, this is big, but it's, you know, for a lot of people, this is perfectly average. Actually, I might be able to go into the back one on this one. Yeah. Maybe the front. Yeah, there we go. So now that it's in that groove, like it's not going anywhere. I'll be able to break this hook before it comes out of my vise, which is another really cool feature about this vise. Or if you're having just straight jaws, like I could just bend this back. You can see it's absolutely not going to go anywhere, which is great if you're tying, you know, streamer, salmon flies, ocean flies, where you really got a reef on them. Having a feature like that is great. There's quite a few other vices that have that, where the hook is basically locked in and there's no way that you're really going to be getting it out of there. And again, it does that without damaging the shank. Because you could take a regular old cheapy vise and just crank down on it like some vice grips and, you know, have the same effect, but you're going to wreck the finish on the hook and you're going to flatten it, distort it there, which is going to, in essence, work harden the metal like you know about, right? You're going to work hard the wire, which is going to make it brittle and have a much higher chance of breaking. Fly tying is an ancient craft. Well, it goes back to like the Roman era. They used to do a lot of line fishing off of cliffs and stuff in Rome, and there is some history in Japan and China as well, but it doesn't go back as far as the European Roman area does. And those would be like your first kind of hand-tied flies. Of course, you have your European British history, where the more modern fly tying comes from. But if you're looking at just tying feathers to a hook to imitate bait fish, it goes back to about 500 BC, give or take, that we have actual examples from that are like, you know, legitimate, still around examples. It probably predates those examples, I would think. Yeah, everyone likes the rotary vise when it's flipping around. I'm gonna take a short break here though, since we're kind of off topic anyway, and we'll drop the stream here, and I'm gonna go out and clean out my chicken coop and cut some firewood and get my fireplace or my chimney cleaned out and a bunch of other fall junk I got to get done. Oh, all good, Valhalla, man. If you got questions about anything, I'm more than happy to do what I can to answer them for you, for sure. That's what we're all here for, is to learn and enjoy the craft. And, you know, again, most of the things I'll be telling you are either my opinion or from books or other literature I've read. The nice thing about fly tying, and just like smithing, there's no real right or wrong way to do it. Everyone's got their groove that they're in, right? So yeah, we're just here to hang out, chill, enjoy ourselves, and, you know, learn. That's what it's all about. I don't mind taking my time at all to help you out with anything. Fixing a jackhammer. That's awesome. That would be cool to see. Hey, if I'm around and I'm not streaming myself, I'll be jumping in there. I got the bell on, so if it dings, I'll come in there and check it out with you. Appreciate it, man. Thanks for everyone else that's hanging out. Yoshi, if you're still there, my pleasure, and you guys have a good night.